Hello, happy Thursday, everybody. Got water on my table. So tonight I am creating these two cards using the Apple Harvest stamp set. Um, I only did the two cards today because it was just a crazy day, and of course I got behind. So we're just going to do the two. Plus, we have a lot of coloring to do. Both these images, I actually colored for my Patreon group. So for tonight's cards, we're going to have to color them because I do not have them colored. So let's start with this one here. I hope everybody's doing well. We've had a crazy day, like I said. We were able to pick Sheba up today. She had her surgery and it went well. And our pocketbook is empty now. It cost us a small fortune, but we had to be careful because of the blood disorder that she has. So all's well. So for this card here, I'm just going to look to see. Yes, I did. We're just going to start with, hello, hello. Hey, Karen. Thank you. Hey, dude. That's okay. I was almost late, too. Sheba is not with it. She's just very drowsy because of the meds that she's on. And she was actually laying in my door, so we had to move her out of the doorway. But so let's just get started with tonight's card. So we're going to start with a basic white card base, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4.25. Okay. So is there anything new and exciting happening with anybody? We went to Lebanon this morning for Bill, and then we headed back in the other direction for Sheebs. So we did a lot of traveling today. All right, then we're going to use some real red. And this is actually 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And I'm just going to adhere that to the front of the card. And then we're going to adhere a piece of basic white that is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And I embossed it with one of the basic 3D embossing folders. Hello, hello, that's fine. And these embossing folders come in a 3-pack. And I believe they're not in the catalog. They are on one of the online exclusives, okay? So you won't find it in the catalog. You'll have to it's only online. So before we glue everything together, I want to layer this up with, and let me just move this so you can see, the designer series paper. And then I have the, and I don't have my catalog in here, it's inside. But this is the copper and, oh shoots, I wish I could remember what it was because I don't. This was in the last catalog, but it's in the mini catalog now. And I am actually going to grab my designer series paper, and I only had little pieces of this and I wanted to utilize it. So I am just going to grab some glue. Maybe, hey, I know your name shows up sometimes, Karen. Can you find out what the name of this paper is? I think it's in the mini catalog. All right, so so I could, utilize these strips. I'm just going to adhere it, leaving a little bit showing on the back of this designer series paper. it's a great way to be able to utilize the gold or the copper and not waste any, right? We're all about using up our paper that we have laying around. And like I said, these strips have been sitting in my bin, so I figured we'd use them for these. All right, so see, now it's edged. Hey, Kathy. And we can just snip it off. You can use your trimmer. I'm just going to trim it off with my scissors. Now we can get rid of those little pieces, and now I can adhere it to the basic white. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit extra glue just so, because of the embossing. We want to make sure that this sticks to the front of the card, see? And I'm just going to hold it up so I can get this even with the edges and make sure it's on there straight. All right, is that straight? Yep. All right, so there, we have that on the front. Happy Thursday. Now we can adhere this to the real red layer with no difficulties. And then we can adhere it to our basic white layer. And that'll be our card base, right? Just making sure the card opens the correct way. We don't want any we don't want any accidents tonight. All right. Winter, is it Winter Meadow? But I thought there was one that was that maybe it is in this. I don't know. I think it's in the mini catalog. Let me see. This has me going now. Give me 1 second. I'm going to run out and get my catalog. That poor little girl, she's out like a light. And she's got that stinking cone on her head, the cone of disgrace. It's called oxidized copper. And it is in the new mini catalog that's coming out. And this one, this one is a little different because this was from the other annual catalog, but it is on the same, it's the same idea of the paper. Hey, Roberta. Welcome from Wyoming. All right. So here's our card base. Now that we have our card base, this is the apple, this one right here, from the apple harvest. And you'll notice that on this one, I made the apples green. I made them red on this one. And then I did also do these. All right. And I didn't use those for these cards, but I figured not everybody likes red apples. Some people like them green. And I actually forgot to add the extra flour, so we're going to have to skip that on tonight's card. All right, so let me just pull my blends out. And you know, when I start coloring, I use a ton of blends. And I just want to get my ivory, which that is not it. Here it is. All right, and our ivory. And I also need petal pink. Is that petal pink? I have all my markers are all over the place. All right, so to start with our apple, and we're going to do these quick. I won't go into so much detail because we'll be here all night. But we're going to first take, and what did I do with it? I just had it in my hand. The ivory. That's light pink. Light pink. Dark pink. All right, what the heck? I honestly did just have it in my hand. That's crazy. Oh, here it is. All right, so I'm going to start with the ivory. And let me just... and color in, and you have to pardon my tip, but I am going to color in the white part of the apple, okay? And I know it does look a little dark right now, and that's because everything around it, yes, she did get fixed. She got fixed, and because she has von Willebrand, we had to spend an arm and a leg. I don't even want to tell you what it cost us. But we also had a gastroplexy done, where they stitch her stomach to into the inside of her stomach cavity, so she will not get bloat. So she can't, if she gets bloat, her stomach won't twist because she's so high risk because of the von Willebrand. All right, so like I said, it looks dark, but we're going to lighten it up a little bit. But first, I'm going to take some, let's grab some Granny Apple Green because it's not so harsh. And I'm going to grab a light Granny Apple Green. We've got so many different greens here. Just give me a second to find the one that's dark. That's light Mossy Meadow. That's light Old Olive. And here's light Granny Apple Green. And we are actually going to just add a little bit of green to that inside surface, because if you've ever eaten a green apple, there is a little bit of green on the inside. And then I'm going to take a nice light petal pink, and I'm going to go over the whole inside again, just to lighten everything up. All right. Now for the apple, I'm going to take that light Granny Apple Green again, and I am going to color in the outside of the apple. And my Granny Apple Green is actually starting to not work very well. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm just going to color in just really quickly. I just want to get a base color onto this apple. Okay. Then I am going to take some dark Old Olive and add some shadows. So we're going to add one here. And I'm actually just following the artist's lines of where I'm putting this dark shadow. The artist has some shadow lines on the apples, but we also have to place shadows where the apples and the leaves overlap. And we're going to do it right there too. All right. So we're just adding a little bit of dimension to our apple. So that is dark old olive. So now we're going to grab our light old olive. Where is it? Right here. And we are just going to come back. Going to add some around that stem. And then I'm going to just extend this color out, going with the shape of the apple. All right. And down here. And then where we added that shadow. Let's add some here. We're going to finish that off. And also up here. Just adding a little bit of dimension. Then we're going to go down to our dark granny apple green. Let's see what that looks like. I'm actually going to extend it from the dark old olive. Then I'm going to go back to my light old olive. Where is it? Right here. And I'm going to extend that out from there. I'm going to add a lighter shadow around the leaf here. Color that in completely. And then I'm going to go back to my light granny apple green. Hopefully this will work good. And I am going to go over the entire apple, because I want all these colors to blend together. And we're going to let it dry. But now we have leaves. So we want to change up the color of the leaves so they don't clash with the apples. So I'm going to start with a base of Parakeet Party. And we're going to do it over here too. Okay, so we're going to use Parakeet Party, light and dark. And then we're going to use dark and light, if I can find it, Lemon Lime Twist. So it's a different shade of greens. So we'll jump to our dark Lemon Lime Twist, because it's a little bit of a different green. And we're going to outline the apple. And outline the apple here. Okay. And then we're just going to run down these veins. You just want to add some darkness. Let's go around this flower. All right. And then we're going to grab some dark Parakeet Party, and we're going to do the same thing. Let's go down those veins. I think I even used some late mossy meadow. We're going to do that right now. So I'm just putting lots of different greens on. So I want to add some good shadows. I'm just going over those veins. All right. And you want to make sure that you are using something underneath your image. Thanks, Roberta. So it doesn't ruin your table. And we're just going to extend this color a little bit. All right. I just want to add a little bit more color. And then I want to blend that all together. So I'm going to use the lightest color that I've been using. And we're going to go over the whole entire leaf. This way the alcohol is going to melt all those colors together. So now when you see your apple, there's a distinct difference between the apple and its leaf. Okay. Now let's jump to our tree. And I'm actually using crumb cake and dark pecan pie. I'm going to start with the dark pecan pie. We're going to come up from the apple. We're going to come away from that flower. We're going to come down the bottom of this branch, and you want to be careful because the nib on this is so large. We're going to come up here and meet it under that flower. Okay, and then we're just going to use our dark. We're going to extend that out a little bit, being as careful as you can. So we're just extending that color, and then you can finish coloring it with the light crumb cake. It'll blend those colors together. It'll give you a highlight. All right, then you have your branch. And then for the flowers, we're going to do those really simple. We're going to take some dark and light petal pink. With the dark, we're going to go over the artist lines or shadow areas. You'll notice in the flowers, there's like little dots of darkness. Those are supposed to be shadows. So we're going to just add it with dark petal pink. Then we're going to take light petal pink, and we're just going to extend that color just a little bit, still leaving white on these petals. Because if you've ever seen apple blossoms, they are not a complete color. And then we have our apples. All right. So let's pull our card back in. We're going to grab some dimensionals. We're going to cut these up actually. Let's add them to the back. And we're just going to pop this up right here on the center. Now you'll notice I did fussy cut an additional flower. All right, and I forgot to do that. And then we have some real red ribbon. Let's tie a bow. I'm not sure if this is in the catalog or not. I did not check. I just have so much of this ribbon. I figured it's perfect for this card. All right, so we got our bow. We're just going to cut our tails. Grab a glue dot. And let's add it right here to the top. All right, so far so good. Now let's get our sentiment. So I just have a piece of scrap white, and it is about 5/8 of an inch wide. And then I also have a small little piece of real red that's 1/4 of an inch. And again, these were scraps that were left over. And we're going to stamp, "Hope you are feeling better." And we're going to use some memento. So let's get that out of the way so I don't make a mess. And hopefully we'll get this on here straight, right? Not too bad. And now that we have our sentiment, we're just going to cut. Okay? And then the other side will go in the opposite direction. So we'll have our sentiment. And then I'm just going to take this little scrap and I'm going to do the same thing. Going to cut that corner at an angle, and we're going to add this to the back of our sentiment. using up all these scraps. I'm just looking, what did I do with my glue? Oh, here it is. There's 4 of them open on this desk. All right, so we're just going to add some glue and put it on the sentiment just so it's about center. And we got to be careful because, of course, the glue gives us a couple extra minutes. All right, so now we have little banners to bring attention to our sentiment because we're going to be putting white on white. So let's just grab some mini dimensionals, add it to the back of our sentiment. Oops. And put it right here on the bottom. Make sure it's straight. I have some red rhinestones. And we're just going to add them to the front of our card. Okay, so just a quick and easy front of our card. All right, so for the inside, we just did a quick green apple. You could get crazy. So we're starting with a 5 1/4 by 4, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, and we're going to grab some granny apple green and our apple. I'm just going to stick this on here so it's straight. All right, so we just want to add our apple to that corner. And add some seal. It's funny, talking about my coloring. I have the whole set of Copics. It's like almost 400 markers. And I used to color every single day. And now all I do is color with blends. And I should start coloring again. Just as a for instance, I did this with markers. Took me a long time, but I colored this. So if you practice, you can really honestly do anything. All right, so just quick and easy little green apples. All right, and then a little green apple on the inside. Just really quick and easy. So for the second one, we are again starting with where did I put it? Right here. Basic white card base. Just don't want to lose my pieces. But this time it's 11 by 4 1/4, and it's scored at 5 1/2. All right. And then I have that oxidized, and I think this was with the desert. I want to say Desert Delight, but I don't think that's what it was. I think I saved it. Yes, Desert Details. This was the paper that went with the Desert Details. And they're bringing it out again just a little differently. I think it's the peacock and the gold. All right. And we are going to add this to the front of the card. And this is 5 1/4 by 4. So let's get this on the front. And like I said, I had 2 6 by 6 sheets or pieces left. So I used the one for this card, and then I had those teeny tiny pieces left. All right, so that is, ooh, that's really shiny. So that is the base of our card. So let's just put that away for a second. And let me get my inside together. Then we're going to layer it up with another piece of real red, but we're going to pop this up. And this is 5 by 3 3/4. And then we have a piece of white that is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And don't worry about the dimensions. I will have a blog and all the dimensions on my blog tomorrow. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our basic white piece. I am going to grab this mask and I'm just going to lay it down. You can see the layer through the sheet. Okay. I'm going to grab my blending brush and I'm going to grab some real red. And what I want to do is, oops, it moved. What I'm going to do is, here's the end, okay? I'm going to actually put this right at the end there. I want it darker here and lighter out here. So we're just going to add some nice dark color down here at the bottom. And we're just going to add some color. Let's see. All right. Let's get some down here. Just adding a little bit of decoration to it so it's not a completely ghost white background. All right. I can close that up. Then I also took that same paper using the scallop contour dies. I cut the scallops and we are going to glue that right to this layer. And I'm going to actually add the glue to this basic white. And I'm going to have to trim it, but I don't want it right at the edge. I want it so it is off that edge a little bit. All right, just like that. And it is crooked, but we're going to be hiding that. So let's give that a few minutes to dry, and we'll pull in our red apples. All right, this one's a little longer, so we'll go over this one really quick. So in case we run out of time. So I'm going to start with a light poppy parade. And all I'm going to do is very carefully, I just want to add a layer of color to the apples. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to get a base coat of color. So when you start adding your other colors, it'll just won't be as streaky. All right. So let's just add our color. Here's another apple here. All right. So the apples are colored. At this point, you could leave it just like that if you wanted. But I'm going to grab some dark cherry cobbler. And I am going to give these apples some shadows. And I'm going to come under this leaf. Because if this is in a tree, okay, if it's in a tree, the sun is up here, shining down. So this leaf is going to cast a shadow underneath. I really won't have too much of a shadow there, but we will have it under here, right? And we'll have it under here. We will have it under this leaf. So we're going to go around this leaf. We'll have a shadow here, but it won't be as dark. And we'll have a shadow here, but it won't be as dark. So at this point, we're going to grab, let's see what, I just want to come see my colors. That's dark real red. And this is light cherry cobbler. So the light cherry cobbler is just a little bit darker than the real red. So I'm going to take this now, and this is going to be my secondary shadow. We're going to extend this color out, okay? And then we're going to add our shadow where the artist has those marks. Same thing here. I'm going to add a shadow here. We're going to extend this color out. We're going to extend this color out, and you want to go with the shape of the apple, okay? And then this apple, we're going to add that shadow there. We're going to extend this color out, and then we're going to add the shadow up here. So now we have our apples starting to come together. So we're going to grab our dark real red, and we're going to extend this color out over here. So we might as well bring that around. I want to keep this apple rounded. All right, so we're just adding our color. Same thing here. We want to just keep this rounded. Okay, and then here, this I'm going to color in completely. All right, so now our apples are getting there. Now I'm going to take my light real red and extend it a little bit more. So all our colors are getting lighter as we come to this area, this center of the apple. I'm going to go over this one completely. And then I'm going to go back to my light poppy parade. And I am going to go over the whole entire apple that we just colored. This is the lightest color that we used. It has the most alcohol, so it will blend all our colors together, and the colors will blend together and run together, and you have to let them dry, okay, and it'll have a nice shiny spot on our apples. So while they're drying, let's do our leaves. And I'm going to use just 3 colors on these. Where's my light old olive? That's Mossy Meadow. Here's light old olive. So we're just going to do these quick. We're going to add some light old olive on the veins. And I didn't put a base color down. We're just doing this quick. So all I'm doing is copying the artist's lines. Okay. We're going to add those shadows, but let's just do these veins. I like my shadows to be dark. So we're just going to do these veins first. And this is just a quick way. If I wanted to get these leaves really looking great, I would really take my time. But because it's running late, We'll just do it a quick and easy way, but still adding some dimension. So that was the light old olive, okay? I'm going to grab some dark old olive. Here it is. Look at that. And I'm going to use this for the shadows before I put the two light colors on. Now we're going to go to this leaf here, and we're going to add the shadow. We're going to color that in completely because the apple is in front of it and the branch is in front of it. We're going to come down here. We're going to just go right around this apple because it's in front of that leaf. Let's get that. This leaf is in front of this leaf, so it would cast a shadow. This apple is in front of that leaf. This leaf is in front of that leaf. Okay. The apple is in front of that leaf. The apple's in front of this leaf. This leaf is behind that branch. And there's that apple. Here's an apple. And then a leaf on a leaf. And, oops, we forgot that leaf up there. All right, so then we have some shadows. Now we're going to go to our dark parakeet party. And we're going to extend the color of our veins. And we're just going over the old olive, getting some quick lines in here. Right? So I'm just going over everything we just did. And one more. All right. So we just added a little bit of color, a little bit of shadow, and then we're going to grab the light parakeet party, and we're just going to color these leaves in completely. And I'm not going to worry if I have any white showing because they could be highlights. So it's just a quick swishing over everything I just colored. So it'll blend together nicely. And then one more. All right, now our little apples are pretty well dry. I'm just going to add some white dots for a little bit of highlight. Give those apples a little bit of character, and you can see them. All right, so let's do these branches. I'm just going to use two colors this time. I'm going to use the dark crumb cake. And we're going to add some shadows by the apples. All right, just a little bit. And then we'll grab some light crumb cake and then just color these in completely. All right, I don't want them too dark. I want the apples to actually be the focus. All right, so there's our image nice and colored. We're going to come back to this piece here, and it looks like I may have moved it a little, and I'm going to trim off these edges. All right, and then I'm going to take our ribbon, and of course I got to hide this edge. So let's grab some glue dots. And we're going to lay this right down. We're going to cover that edge so you'll never know that it was cut crooked, right? Right down that edge. Now we can bring our card back in. Let me get rid of these blends. I don't think I need them anymore. And we're going to actually attach this to our real red base. All right, so let's add some glue. I want to make sure this is staying down because of that ribbon. Let's see if I have some. Here we go. Grab some dimensionals. And then we can add this right to the front of the card. Oh no, I forgot to put the sentiment. Okay, I'm going to have to change it. I should have added the sentiment. I should have stamped it before I added the piece to the front of the card. So we'll just have to change it up a bit. All right, so we added some dimensionals to our nice apples, and we are going to put this on here so the stem or the branch is on the right hand side. All right, let me just grab a piece of white paper here. We'll just do this a little differently. I have thanks for your kindness, and we're going to use memento. So let's just stamp our sentiment. Where's my double oval punch? You know I love my double oval punch. So let's use, will it fit? Yep, we'll use the smaller one. So see, when you make a mistake, there's always a quick fix. So let's just add some adhesive, and we're just going to adhere this. Let's get that leaf up right here to the bottom. So you can see I actually stamped it on the front here. Oh, thank you, Casey. Lots of practice. All right, then we can grab another piece of ribbon. And tie our bow. Stuck on my finger. Let's cut this tail. And then we could just add our bow right to our branch right here. All right, just like that. Let's grab those red gems. We'll just add a couple to the front of the card. All right. So you really can't even tell on the camera. All right. It's not in the catalog. Thank you. I didn't think it was, but I think I have like 3 rolls, so I just need to use it up. All right. So for the inside, we're going to grab our piece of basic white, and it's 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to grab our real red, and the same apples. I think I used the same apples from the front. All right. And I'm just going to stamp or ink up the bottom portion and stamp it in the corner. Let's get rid of that so you can see it. And then let's just add a bead of glue with a scrap of real red. Let's move that over a little. And then another bead of glue. And we'll use that same designer's paper that we used on the other card. We can trim this off, whether you use your scissors or your trimmer. All right. Get your real red mat. Add some seal. Lay it down. And then we can add our glue. And add it to the center of our card. So how fun was that? Oops. There we go. There we go. So here is our first card. And here is the second. You'll take some? Okay. So I hope you like tonight's cards. If you would like these make and takes, just spend $30 in my online store. And if you've ever thought about saving money on your crafty goodness, you'd always become a hobby demonstrator, and you'll reap 20% off all your orders. Okay, so if you ever thought about it, I would love to have hobby demonstrators on my team. You get all my PDFs for free if you want them. And, it's one of the perks. And if you ever wanted a blog, I would create a blog for you. So if you've ever thought about it and you'd like some more information, just get in touch. And I'll talk to everybody soon. Actually, today, I'll see everybody tomorrow. I won't forget for our Fun Fold Friday. It's already ready and waiting. So I'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. And thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.